All right, so we got a big 2005 Cadillac Deville in here. Came in for power steering leak, which I already fixed that. It was the high pressure hose. I was going to film that, but just too many tight places. Wouldn't have been a good video, I don't think. And also the rear shocks are shot. They're leaking real bad, and the car bounces around. It's got the factory air shocks on it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to change those out real quick. I got the wheels off. I got it up in the air. You're going to have to take a cat claw or something similar like this and pull a few of the clips out to get down in here. And what you're going to go for first is this nut here. This is the shock where it comes up through the body. So we're going to get socket and the stubby impact, and we'll get in here and get this off, and then we'll go to the outside underneath. All right, so I got a 15 millimeter socket on it with a stubby impact. I'll go ahead and take this loose. All right. Oop. Of course, I just dropped the nut way down in the trunk somewhere. So that's the top of your shock right here. You got the 15 millimeter nut. Take that loose, and then we'll go underneath and get the rest of it loose. All right, so here's your air line where it comes into your shock, comes up and goes in right there. Just pull this clip up and go ahead and pull that loose. So it'll be like that. And you just pull this clip out and pull this out. Now that that's out of the way, what we'll do now is we'll put a jack underneath this control arm and lift it up a little bit. Take a little tension off of the shock. Right now it's fully extended. So we're going to take a little tension out of that shock, and then we'll go ahead and hit those two bottom bolts and slide this thing out. All right, so I got a jack under the control arm. Just jack it up a little bit. The top's loose. We got the two 10 millimeter bolts down here. And yeah, they're 10 millimeter. It's hard to believe they got those. They're that small. Now this shock should drop out when they get this last bolt out. Turn it a little bit. There you go, it's dropped out. So it's completely out. So I'm going to get the new one, and we'll go about setting that in there. All right, here they are laid out together. When you put this up, the new one up, it comes with these two caps. The bigger of the two go on the shock first, so that goes on the bottom of the shock, the bigger of the two. Then you'll run that shock through that hole in the body, and then this will go on top of that, and it comes with a new nut. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to just run it through, and we'll start this bolt, or this nut, and put this cap on and start the nut, and then we'll hook the bottom up and hook the air up. Both of these fell off when I took them off. These little clips, you don't want to lose these. This is what holds the bolts to the bottom of the shock. So I'll put those back up on the frame, just slide them up on there, and then you know, the bolts will go through that onto the shock. So anyway, we'll run this through the top first and get it started, have it hold it up there. All right, sometimes when you work alone, you have to improvise. So I put a block of wood under here to hold it up so I can start the nut on top. If you have someone with you, it's obviously easier. So anyway, I'll go ahead and show you that and show you the orientation of those cups. All right, so they got the shaft through there, the shock through there. Now your inclination would be to put the cap on like this, like you do on most shocks, but that would be wrong. What you want to do is put the cap like this, so the cup points upward on these, and then go ahead and put your nut on, and I'll show you on the other side. You can see in there on that one. See how the cup's upside down right here? So the cups go opposite of what you normally would think if you put shocks on both ends. They both, on the bottom of the shock, it points downward towards the shock and goes up into that rubber bushing on the body here. And on top, flip it over, goes this way with the nut. So we'll go ahead and just put a little torque on these. Nothing crazy yet. We're just going to get it to where it won't fall out. So that started, so it won't fall out. So now we'll put the rest of it together outside, and then we'll come back and tighten this with the wrench until we feel like it's starts to puff this out a little bit. All right, now since I work by myself, I had to improvise, like I said before. So I have this block of wood in here to hold it up while I start that other nut. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and go ahead and start. Put your clips on for your 10mm bolts, and we'll go ahead and extend this out as far as we can. These are air shocks, so they extend out pretty easily. So we're almost down to the frame right there. So I'll go ahead and jack this lower control arm up a little bit to where it almost touches this, and then we'll start those 10mm bolts and run those up. And then all we have left is hook your airline up and do the final torque on the top of that shock. And you don't go crazy on those, you just torque them down until they mushroom out a little bit. So anyway, I'll jack this up and we'll start these 10. All right, so I ran those up. I had a control arm pretty close to where the shocks are at, and we're just doing a final torque on it. And those are torqued down, and like I said, these bolts are pretty long. So the only thing left now is just the air hose. All you do on that is you press this in and then slide that clip over the slot, line it up, and then press it down, and then your air hose should be complete. And then, like I said, we'll go up to the top and torque on that a little bit, and then that should be it. So it's pretty simple on these Cadillacs. The only difference between like maybe a Cadillac and normal cars, you have the air line here, and so anyway, that's I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and that's pretty much how you would go about changing the shocks on a Cadillac Deville. Like I said, to get to the top here, you got to get in the trunk, like we showed earlier, and pull those panels back. You got that one nut, and then the only other thing that's a little weird besides the airline is these cups. These cups here are kind of opposite of what you normally expect. Like if you do a lot of shocks, normally the cup goes upward and cups the bushing, but on these it's opposite of that. They actually go inside the bushing. So anyway, that's about it. I'm going to do the other side and take it for a test drive. Like I said, I put a power steering hose on this, and haven't test drove it yet. It's not leaking, but I need to take it around the block a few times and make sure that all the air is out of the system, and make sure the back's not doing the boogie woogie shake like it was. This thing was shaking like crazy, bounced up and down like crazy coming in. So it was definitely shaking its badonkey donk driving around. So anyway, that's it for shocks on an 05 Cadillac Deville. I thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.